Are you sick and tired of wiping every single time when doing a Grandmaster Nightfall? So this build will guarantee you a completion in a Grandmaster Nightfall or any other endgame content that you are struggling with. If you'd like to see more builds like these, be sure to hit that like and sub button. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In order for us to get a guaranteed Grandmaster completion, we are going to need to use this exotic chest armor called the Omnioculus. Here's what it does. It's called Beyond the Veil. You gain a second smoke bomb charge and have damage resistance while invisible. When you make an ally invisible, they gain a damage resistance while invisible, and you gain melee energy as well. So your main goal for this is to, of course, make you and your teammates become invisible if you want to get infinite amounts of melee energy, which converts into a smoke bomb. So whenever you become invisible, you would grant 50% damage resist, and it would also grant you an extra smoke bomb, so you would have 2 instead of 1. And also, whenever your teammates get invisible as well, they would also be granted the same damage resistance, and you would also be granted a 50% melee energy refund. So in Grandmaster Nightfalls, you're going to be having 2 extra teammates. So if you make both of them invisible, you would get 100% melee energy back. So that is a guaranteed melee charge right there. So you're going to be having 3 ways to become invisible. 2 of them are for yourself, and the third one is for your teammates and yourself. So you are getting all 3 of the benefits. Now let's head to the Hunter subclass, aka the Nightstalker. For the super ability, you can choose any of the supers you like, but in this video I'm using Shadow Shot Mobius Quiver for big chunky damage. For the abilities, if you want to get more melee energy back, be sure to put Gambler's Dodge, because whenever you dodge near an enemy, you'll be granted a guaranteed melee charge. And for the void grenades, you can choose any of the grenades you like, but for me, I'm putting Vortex Grenade, because in my opinion, I think that is the best grenade for PvE. Now for the aspects, both of them will be granted invisibility. First one is Trapper's Ambush. This one will allow you to become invisible for you and your teammates. Whenever you activate Quick Fall, it would spend your melee charge and you would dive onto the ground, creating a large smoke cloud on impact. Targets caught in the cloud are weakened and allies are made invisible. So for this one, all you would have to do is jump into the air, make sure your teammates are underneath you, and activate this aspect. You'll dive down and make all of your teammates invisible around you, including yourself. You would also be granted 2 fragment slots for this void aspect. For the second aspect, it's called Vanishing Step. All it would do is that whenever you dodge, it would make you become invisible. So this becomes really clutch in Grandmaster Nightfalls. So let's just say that you run out of smoke bombs, but you have your Gambler's Dodge. All you would have to do is run towards an enemy, dodge as quickly as possible to become invisible, then you'll be granted another smoke bomb, in which case you can become invisible again. For the fragments, there are going to be 4 in total. The first one will give you the third ability to become invisible, but you would have to get a finisher. Finisher final blows grants invisibility, and you would also get plus 10 recovery, and it's called Echo of Obscurity. The second fragment enhances finishing enemies even more, and it's called Echo of Cessation. I hope I pronounced that right, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. Finisher final blows creates a burst of void damage that causes nearby combatants to become volatile. Defeating volatile targets creates a void breach, and whenever you get a void breach, it would give you class ability energy. The third void fragment is Echo of Persistence. This one will increase the duration for invisibility and devour, but it would give you minus 10 mobility. The fourth and final void fragment is Echo of Starvation. Picking up a void breach or an orb of power grants devour, but it would give you minus 10 recovery. So we are most likely going to be collecting a lot of orbs of power from our teammates and for ourselves, which will give us devour. But those are the 3 ways to become invisible for this build. One of them is from your aspects, the second one is from your dodge, and the third one is from finishing targets. Now let's head to the weapons for this build that makes Grandmaster Nightfalls fall over. On the kinetic weapon, we're using the Strand Fusion Rifle called Scatter Signal because of the seasonal artifact mods that will be provided for this build. The perks that you would have to go for the Scatter Signal is Overflow, because you would not have to worry about reloading, and the second one is Controlled Burst, which increases the damage whenever you land every shot in a burst, but it would reduce the charge time for an improved duration. And if you guys would like to get the Scatter Signal, all you would have to do is open Season of the Wish engrams, and you'll have a chance to get this fusion rifle. Now onto the energy weapon. We are using this solar scout rifle called the Polaris Lance. This scout rifle in particular dominates endgame content, especially Grandmaster Nightfalls. Here's what it does. Whenever you get precision hits, it would return ammo to the mag, and if you would land 4 precision hits, it would load a delayed solar explosive round for your next shot. So the more precision hits you inflict, the higher of a chance they'll cause an ignition. There actually is a catalyst for this scout rifle, but it doesn't really benefit anything. All it would do is that whenever you get a precision kill, it would create an elemental damage explosion. But if you're one of those people that do not have the catalyst, don't worry. You don't really need it. So if you guys would like to know how to get the Polaris Lance, all you would have to do is go to the exotic kiosk in the tower and purchase it. So for the Polaris Lance, if you want to get an ignition, all you would have to do is land 8 precision hits to cause an ignition towards that target, if you're dealing with an unstoppable. Last but not least, for the weapons, we are on to the power weapon. I'm using this solar rocket launcher called the Apex Predator because we are using this seasonal artifact mod, which combines strand siphon and solar siphon into one. So that's why in this video, I'm using strand weapons and solar weapons. The perks you'd want to go for Apex Predator is reconstruction and bait and switch. Now for the seasonal artifact mods, here's what you guys need if you want to dominate Grandmaster Nightfalls. This one will allow you to proc Radiant whenever you get solar precision hits or rapid solar weapon final blows. The next one, whenever you become Radiant, you will cause solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. And last but not least, while Radiant, solar precision final blows causes combatants to ignite. Now here are the seasonal artifact mods that would buff strand weapons. This one, whenever you pick up an orb of power, it would grant strand weapons unraveling rounds. And also, whenever you damage an unravel target with a weapon, it would occasionally spawn a threadling. So for this build, you're going to be stunning every single champion in the entire game. Let's start with anti-barrier champions. So 1, we are getting unraveling rounds for our strand fusion rifle, and 2, we are getting radiant because of our Polaris Lance. So you'll be granted radiant for your Polaris Lance and a scatter signal. The next one is unstoppable champions. Of course, you guys probably already know we are going to be unleashing tons of ignitions. So by using the Polaris Lance, if you would get multiple rapid hits, or should I say precision hits, you'll cause ignitions to make them stunned. And last but not least, we are using a rocket launcher. So for the seasonal artifact mods, we do have overload rocket launchers. And if you guys do not know, whenever you deal damage towards a champion, or should I say an overload champion, you'll deal 80% increased damage because we are using a rocket. Now let's talk about what stats you'll need for the build. Of course, we are using this for endgame content, so be sure to put resilience for that 30% damage reduction. But if you want to get that, you would have to be tier 10. And if you're also one of those people that would like to spec into your Gambler's Dodge cooldown duration, I do recommend going for mobility because it would, 1, of course, reduce the cooldown for your class ability, and 2, it would increase your movement speed and maximum jump height. So for the base cooldown for Gambler's Dodge, it is 38 seconds, but if you have tier 10 mobility, it would knock it down all the way to 22 seconds. And here are the armor mods for the build. And the main thing I do want to point out is that for your Hunter Cloak, we are using this mod called Utility Kickstart because I do want to spec into more class ability energy. So by having this, it would consume your armor charges and it would convert it into class ability energy. I do recommend checking out these mods in the link in the description, aka the dim link. It will take one press of a button and it'll be much quicker rather than just pausing the video and copying it from here. If you found this video helpful and you learned something new, be sure to hit that like and sub button. Join the Discord.